Alright guys, so here we go with kind of the screencast for tutorial 3 where we're going to do some items to basically just customize our desktop. So try to follow along. I'm basically beginning on page Windows 101, and we're just going to go ahead and modify some of our desktop options. Some things that you may not commonly do, but you may come across that one particular user who wants these settings set up. So to display some app screen and pin reader to the start screen, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the start screen. So I'm just clicking the Windows key on my keyboard. So here's our basic start screen, which we're all familiar with up until this point. I'm going to right click a blank area to display the apps bar. So anywhere there's not any tiles, I should right click and I'll see this apps bar that just appeared at the bottom. Once again, just right click and then we get this area down here. I'm going to go ahead and click the All Apps button, and you can see here's every application I have installed on my system currently. So I'm going to look for some things at the top. Let me just point out some key areas here first. The apps bar is what we just saw there at the bottom. There it is right there. Up here in the upper left lets me know exactly where I'm at in the apps. Basically anything that we see is going to be organized category wise, so you can kind of see basically anything in this section, this main area right here, are going to be considered the Windows 8 apps. Those were pre-installed when I got this particular system. So you can see some things in there that are specific to the Windows system, you know, camera, calendar, games, finance, desktop, maps. But then as I've gone on, I've added, you know, there's Adobe Reader, uTorrent, not that I download anything illegally, PowerPoint viewers, those sorts of things. If we want to scroll to look at additional apps, you guys can kind of see, as I move my mouse, I get this scroll bar down here. Once again, I can go left to right, up and down. I can also use, I'm using the scroll button on my mouse to do the same thing. And then, of course, I can go by the keyboard as well, just using the left and right arrows to scroll across. But in this instruction, we're told that we're going to pin some items to the start menu, so I'm going to go with Reader, and I'm going to right click. And you can see I get that little check mark letting me know that I have it selected. Now I go down here and I want to pin it to the start menu. Just click Pin to Start. Go ahead and hit my Windows key. And there's Reader right there. And of course I can organize these, but it'll always add whatever I just added to the very end of the list. So let's just do one more, just for demonstration purposes. Let's go ahead and put in a shortcut for, oh, I don't know. Photos are already being there. Let's do one for Cam Studio, which is what I'm using to record this. And here's our option right here. You can see it's already set to the start menu. Let's see if we can find one that isn't. That one's already there. That one's already there. That one's already there. Let's see if we can find one over here. Looks like Windows throws them all in there. Well, just for demonstration purposes, let's take eBay off of there. So now it's disappeared. Let's right click, add it. I'm going to hit the Windows key. And there's eBay. Now just to verify that Reader works from the shared location or eBay, we'll test them both. We're going to go ahead and scroll to the tiles we just added. Click Reader. Take a couple seconds to start up. And looks like here's just some, the last PDF that I had open on my system, some new employee self-identification form, probably for when I first started here at Paris. And notice kind of what I did there. If you click and drag in the very top area, you notice my cursor changes to the grip hand, letting me know that I can pull this down and make it appear as a thumbnail and kind of drag it to wherever I want it to be. If I want to use it kind of as a sidebar, I can, and from here I can open up more applications. So let's see what happens when we open up eBay. You can see now I've got both eBay open simultaneously with the reader program, and I can just adjust this as needed, make one bigger, make one smaller. Not as useful when you're on a laptop per se, and also I can drag out over eBay to different areas as well too. Not necessarily useful when you're on a laptop, but if you find yourself working on a multi-screen system, you got more than one monitor, very handy to be able to have multiple applications open simultaneously on one single screen. So another customization I may want to make is to create what we call a custom shortcut. And you can see we've already got some shortcuts in here from, things that I've done on my system, but we'll go ahead and walk you guys through the process as well. So starting from what the book says, we're going to make sure we get to the desktop app. Now I have it pinned down here already, but just to show you guys the search features once again, I'm just going to start typing in desk and go ahead and click desktop. Takes us back to right where we were. So if I right click a blank area anywhere there's not already a shortcut, if I right click, hover over new, and then go to shortcut, I'll be taken to the create shortcut wizard. Now I'm going to do a shortcut for shutting down the system. You can do this for a number of different programs. You can browse for a particular folder, file, whatever it may be. If you wrote a little script that empties out your recycle bin every 30 minutes, you can do that as well, but we'll just do one for the shutdown command. So if I was actually in the command line, I would type down this command. This would perform a complete shutdown. I'm going to go ahead and click next. As far as the name for a shortcut, I'm just going to keep it simple and call it shutdown. And then click finish. And now you can see I've got a shortcut to shut down my system. It's going to run that command almost instantaneously. Now if I wanted to click that right now, it would cut off halfway through the lecture. So we obviously don't want to do that right now, but let's just create one more shortcut. Now I'm still going to use shutdown, but I'm going to throw a different option at the end of it. The shutdown/R will automatically restart the system. So it'll perform a normal shutdown, but also perform a reboot. So I'll just call this one restart. Now these icons aren't pretty. They look like very basic commands, and you can see with the desktop background I have on them, kind of blends right in. A little bit difficult to see. Somebody might accidentally click this one when they're trying to open something else. So I'm going to change the icon for this. So I'm going to right click the shortcut, go down to properties, and this is the properties for this specific shortcut. I can go in and change different items. So while I'm on the shortcut tab, I'm going to look at the settings and options for working with shortcuts. And I'm going to click this button down here that says change icon. Oh, I know. I'm going to change folders here. So it's automatically going to default to the built-in icons that Windows has. Of course, I can go online and do a quick search for ICO files, ICO for icons, and I'll be able to get all sorts of customized icons. Now, if you guys want to do that on your system, I highly recommend you be careful and make sure that you scan any ICO files you download. They are known to have viruses associated with them. So the key thing to remember about viruses and other types of malicious software is if you download it but you don't execute it, you won't necessarily be releasing the virus on your system. So you can find one that you like. Let's say it's a transformer or something. Download the transformer icon, and then you'll be able to scan it before you actually run it. So you'll always be given that option. Whatever antivirus you work with, make sure you scan it before you actually run it. But to pick up back where we were, we're just going to change the icon to something that looks a little bit more friendly, if you will. Now if we're doing a shutdown, this one might be good. Kind of lets us know we're shutting down the system. See all sorts of icons I could go with. See if there's anything else. This one might be good as well. Just want to make sure it stands out so that somebody kind of takes a second glance at it before they just go clicking away on it. So I think we'll just go with that yellow triangle. Make sure you hit apply and then hit OK, and you can see I've changed the icon to something that stands out a little bit better. Also lets me find it a little bit easier. Let's do it one more time for the restart one. Once again, click on change icon. This pop-up, it tells me that it's just going to start looking for that shutdown folder, which doesn't have any icons. I just hit OK, and it's going to take me back to a location that does. So let's see if we got something like an arrow, kind of like a reboot. That one might work. Let's go with that one. That one looks like a reboot. Hit apply, hit OK. And you can see I've created two distinct icons, because what we don't want to say is, oh, click the one that looks like what it used to look like, kind of like that folder structure, because people might get a little click happy. So we've made two distinct icons for shutdown and a restart. Now, while the desktop is a good location for these items, remember Windows 8 tends to focus more on the start screen. So we may actually want to go ahead and pin these shortcuts to the start screen. So let's start with the shutdown one. I'm going to right click it. And you can see one of the third options I have up here is to pin to start. Very similar to what we just did. So let's just see if those ones appeared. Let's do it on this one. Pin to start. I'm going to hit the Windows key to bring up the start menu. And let's see if we've added our two icons. There they are, right there. Now if I want to make them a little bit more convenient, I can click and drag over here. I can reorder them if necessary. Alright, now since I don't want necessarily anybody to come on the system and accidentally run these programs, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of them. So right click, go to delete. That'll throw the shortcut in the recycle bin. And just to display it a different way, I'm just going to highlight the shutdown, and I'm going to press the delete key, not backspace on my keyboard, the delete key. And you can see it does the same thing. Let's check the start menu to see if they also disappeared. See, now the shutdown is still there because I haven't fully deleted it yet. It's still sitting in the recycling bin. But let's go ahead and remove it from here as well. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to unpin it. Same thing over here. Right click and unpin it. And just to go back, let's go ahead and empty the recycle bin. Ooh, had a lot of stuff in there. And they're gone. Alright, so there may be a situation where you want to group tiles on the start screen. So I went ahead and recreated the shutdown and the restart shortcuts that we just created. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the start menu, scroll over to that reader tile we added a little bit ago, and I'm going to click and drag it over to some of the Windows 8 apps. So those are the Toshiba apps. Let's go ahead and throw it in over here. Now we're going to create a group for the shutdown and the restart files. So let me go ahead and add those back to the start menu. Pin to start, pin to start, hit the Windows key, and both restart and shutdown are now added back to it. So I'm going to click and drag shutdown all the way to the right until I get this bar. See that bar that's appearing? That kind of lets me know that I'm creating a new group here. And each one of these, the reason that they have the dividers is because we've thrown them into groups with each other. So I'm going to click and drag shutdown over here. Click and drag restart over here. And now you can see there's kind of a clear distinction between those groups, so they're not all lumped together. Once again, just to demonstrate, let's look at these Windows Media. We need to go ahead and throw them in a new group. New group, new group, and new group. Oop. Let's get them all together. And there we go. Now while that is great and I've created these groups, I want to have something stand out that lets me know that these are exactly what they are. You know, I've got shutdown and restart, I've got my Windows Media icons grouped together. So I'm going to point to the lower right corner of the start screen until the zoom button appears. So I'm just going to go down here. Here's my zoom button. I'm going to display all the tiles I have here, and you can see my Toshiba apps have a unique name, and that's essentially what we're going to do for our custom apps. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to right click. Now this is the group that's already on there, but let's go ahead and name our group over here. So you just kind of, once again, hit this zoom key, find the group that you want to create. So that's the first step, is creating the group. Right click to get this menu up. Click on name group. And I'm just going to call this one, let's call it daily work. Press enter. And you can see I've got daily work. Let's go ahead and call this one Windows Media. And now you can see I've created daily work and Windows Media, just to give everybody kind of clear distinction exactly what's contained with those two groups. So something else I want me to do to my start screen is to resize some of these tiles. So you can see a lot of these ones have different sizes. You know, it allows us to see pictures and whatnot, but that does consume a lot of processing power to display a picture rather than, you know, a simple icon. So maybe I want to make these a little bit smaller. So I'm going to take this people tile, right click to bring up the apps menu, and you can see one of my options here is smaller. Click that and it makes it a little bit smaller. Make this one smaller as well. And let's say, just for demonstration purposes, I want to make SkyDrive bigger. Right click, go to larger, and now I get the larger icon size. Now if I want to make the photos tile a live tile, kind of like what we see here, you can see this one is tied directly to the news. It'll change every so often. Right now it's showing the top stories. Here's one for sports. I'm getting news stories as well. But let's go ahead and find photos. So I've got camera, I've got video. Where are my photos? I think they're... So here's my photos. And I'm going to right click, and you can see I don't have any pictures in there. That would be a good thing. Let's go to one that I do have some pictures in there. See, this one is currently set to live tile. It's going through all the PDFs I have and all the JPEGs, photo files that I have on my system. And you can see it scrolls through it. So I'm going to turn that off and just leave the Photos app. There's the Photos app. I knew it was in there. So if I do want to have that setting where it's kind of displaying the different options, I'm going to right click, turn live tile on, and you can see it'll start scrolling through my pictures. I can also do the same thing for sports. I can say turn it off, and it'll just give me a simple icon for sports. Same thing for news. Turn it off, turn it off. So just a way to kind of customize your start screen. Now if I want to change the design and color of my start screen, I'm going to go back to the desktop. I'm going to bring up the charms bar. So think back to a couple lessons ago. I'm going to point my mouse up into the upper right corner. Remember, these are the charms that we have here on the right hand side. And I'm going to go into settings. I'm going to go into, let's go into change PC settings. And here I am at the PC settings screen. I'm going to go ahead and remember we want to change the start screen. So I'm going to click on start screen. And you can see that background's a little bit boring. So I'm going to change something. And I can change the color palette, so to speak, to kind of use a different color scheme. I can change the icon, kind of give it a little bit better background, something plain Jane, if you will. Pictures, colors, all the colors of the rainbow. Go to a grayscale. So let's change it to, let's go to Dodger Blue because I'm a Dodgers fan. And we'll keep it somewhat simple. Go ahead and hit the start key, and you can see I've got my new background. Another customization I may want to make is going back to the start screen. As you can see, and this is my wife's computer, that's why it's the J Goodman, is I want to give it a custom account picture. So I'm going to right click and go to change account picture, because that thing's boring. Let's go ahead and see if we've got any pictures on here. Let's go ahead and create one real quick. This will bring up my webcam. Hey everyone, let's do cheesy thumbs up. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and click and select my pretty face. Sorry for the background here. The sun's kind of pouring in where I'm at. We'll just click that right there and hit OK. And you can see there's my big gigantic head now as my account picture. Now, a common task you guys will have to perform, especially if you find yourself writing up instructions for how to use a particular piece of software, is to create screenshots. And there are several ways of doing this. The way the book recommends is to use the print screen key on your keyboard. So if you guys look on your keyboard, you should see a button. It'll probably be towards the upper right that says PRT SC or PRT screen. That key will essentially perform what we call a print screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here to capture it. I just hit the print screen key, and I'm going to bring up Paint real quick because I want to look at the screen capture I just got. So the paste button is already going to be highlighted because when I hit that print screen key, it's going to save it to my clipboard. And I just click the paste button, and you can see there's exactly what we were looking at. Now remember, with the print screen key, it's going to capture everything. So you can see it's got the Cam Studio, which I'm using to record this, but it's going to capture the entire background. Now there may be scenarios where you want to do that, where you're capturing everything. But if you want to capture, let's say, the active window, the window you're currently in. So I've got a couple of windows open here. I'm just going to go ahead and capture Cam Studio. You can see this is the active window. You see now it's inactive. When it's highlighted, it means I'm currently active in it. But let's go ahead and capture this. If I hold down Alt and then hit print screen, the ALT key, that should capture this active window. Let's just see if we get anything different. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and I'm going to go ahead and paste again. And you can see it only captured the active window. So there are scenarios where you just want to capture one single window, and just remember to press and hold the Alt key, then print screen, and it'll capture the active window. And just for full demonstration purposes is to show you guys the snip tool, which is built into all Windows operating systems. I'm just going to hit the Windows key, start typing in snip, and that's the snipping tool. And this allows me to drag and drop for specific areas. So I'm just going to show you guys some options in here. If I click the down arrow next to new, you can see I've got different options. I can do a window snip, the full screen, or a free form where I kind of draw squiggly lines to capture what it is. But I'll just stick with rectangular for now. And you can see I get the cursor arrow. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag because I want to capture this. And it gives me an option of it, kind of a preview. From here I can copy it. I can highlight options. I can kind of go and say, look, this is what I want you guys to look at, whatever it may be. Cross this out. If I hit the disk, it'll save it. And I could save it as a JPEG, a GIF, whatever it may be.